Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back to Conan Exiles. Now first off, yes, I do have a beard. That is because I was messing around with the Pippi mod, which is currently disabled as well, by the way, before any of you asked me about it, but it allowed me to give myself a beard, the thing that I've been wanting for a while. So there's that. But also we are down at the first slave camp that I built quite early on, which has all of its thralls back and things like this. But the reason why I'm down here is that we've done a lot of building at the other Purge-proof bases. In downtime, I've been throwing thralls at the other Purge-proof bases as well. I captured so many Nordheimers, set up a Wheel of Pain, chucked them on there. The one up at the reservoir is now very well stocked. I don't know what I'm going to do with the one further north. I might have to kind of get hold of just a whole load of slaves from everywhere, or I could do the cheap way and just spawn them in, because up there there aren't really any kind of human populations to slave from, and so there's no, and you can't take giants, unfortunately, as much as that would be fun. So we'll have to see about that one. But we do have 2 Wheels of Pain set up there. I might just have to, I think the closest settlement is still a Nordheimer one, so might do that, or maybe I set up another camp near the Sumerians and take them up there. Who knows? But I wanted to come down here today because now that we know what the Purge is about and how it's all going to pan out, I kind of wanted to look at our defences here, because we've got some problems. First off, if they come from the camp up there, or if they come along that top area at all, or that one, although that one's harder for them to get to if they can't climb. This one they could literally spawn and just dive over the edge. So we've got that gaping hole up there of that kind of messer that we've got on that side. This wall, as we found out in the last video where we were testing the resilience of the walls and things, these are just simple sandstone. These can be punched through really easily with just straightforward, mid to high tier weaponry. So this isn't potentially going to cause us, like, hold on, in this area, what's the best weapon type? Let's just sword. No, not a double D. We've got iron. It'd probably be the abyssal sword, right? From the dregs. So let's give ourselves one of those. So 35 damage, 17 armor penetration. Okay, that's a lot less than our star metal sword there. So can this... Okay, so these walls are immune to the tiers of weapons that Darfari have, and some of the better weaponry that comes from the exiled lands. So there's that. So potentially this won't just give out, but it depends on where the purge comes from, what kind of purge it is. And so I want to shore up the defenses on this place. I'm not too worried about that bit up there, just because off the other side of that there's just a straight cliff. So that I'm not too worried about. But this wall up there, and then also we've got the... Did I never put a door there? Could have sworn I did. Oh well. So we've got all of that, but then also, and I know it says that I'm suffering from heat stroke and stuff, but I'm not. It's fine. But then also we've got our kind of back entrance down here, where again, I'm not too fussed about them kind of climbing up and over this area, because I feel like they're more inclined as NPCs to get kind of stuck in these gaps. I may very well be proven wrong when it actually comes to the Purge being released, but it's like, that there is a gap that they could probably get through. So we need to seal this up. Maybe, yeah, because I'm like they might be able to get through there because I nearly can. So they might be able to because they're NPCs. And so then, you know, I want to make sure... Like, I'm not too fussed about this bit out here. Like, if they destroy these walls or get into that area down there, then that's fine. But what I would like to do is maybe build a tower here, just off this edge that connects onto here, so that we can stick a couple of archers up there. And I just want to secure this place a little better, because, you know, at the moment... We've got... Is there any sandstone building stuff in here? No, a lot of chests. I must have hit the wrong button when I was doing that. But, you know, this is probably the worst defended or least defended base that we've really got. Because at least the ones south of here, like the lodge and stuff like that, are actual bases, not just the little buildings that I've set up near the dregs and stuff like that just to use as a spawn point. But, you know, this in its entirety, it's probably the least defended because it doesn't have water around it and it doesn't have a large number of thralls. It's got like, what, 3 down here? 1 guy over there, and then we've got, I think it's another 3 archers up top. So, you know, we've got some, but not many defenses, because we've got, okay, so we've got 1, 2, 2 dancers. Okay, so we've got 2 up here, and then we've got 1 there with our other dancer as well. So, you know, we've not got a vast amount in the way of random defenses. Oh, archpriests that I picked up. Awesome. I think that was when I was at one point looking to test the avatars, and then I went, no, do you know what, that's not a good idea, we won't do that. Do you know what, let's just hop off the edge. So I want to start setting this stuff up. So I am going to just spawn, oh no, I'm going to try and punch the ground apparently, but I just want to spawn in sandstone. Let's give ourselves, what, a couple hundred foundations, a couple hundred walls, ceilings. Where are the roofs? Or aren't there any roofs for this? Can't remember. Probably need some fences. Oh, we're encumbered. Probably should have expected that. That's fine. Oh yeah, we've got thatched roofs. Yeah, we'll take some of those as well. Okay, so we're somewhat encumbered. Not as encumbered as I thought we would be. We'll ditch those. Okay, that gave us something. But so all that's going to do is make us a tad slower for the moment till we get over to here. But whilst I'm doing this, guys, considering this is now me just going to be building this place out, maybe talking about how I'm building it out for the rest of the episode. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was the most recent newsletter, as I tend to touch on, and like some of the interesting stuff that I feel we've got coming up, because we've got in theory, the golden build of the game needs to be done sometime very soon, because we're what? It's the 30th at the time of recording this, so we've got another, what, month-ish until the game releases, because releases in May. So we've got kind of handful of bits and pieces that are still kind of being worked on, that need to be in that final build of the game, ready for burning to discs and things. And some of the changes that they were talking about in the most recent newsletter were things like how they are looking at further improving the NPCs and the creature kind of attacks and the cooldowns on them and stuff like that, so that they're not just, you know, we're not going to come across those creatures and they're just going to dominate us entirely. But then also they were talking about some other stuff in regards to armor changes in particular, which was something that kind of stood out to me. Especially considering that now as well, with the way that the armor works, I count as heavy just by, like, this is medium, this is medium, this is medium, this is medium, but I'm wearing a heavy helmet, so my whole armor value counts as heavy. You know, I take that off and all of a sudden I'm medium again. But it's like, I like that hat for the moment, so we'll keep it there. But what they have said is that they are nerfing light armor. They're lowering the armor value of light armor, which is kind of interesting to me. It's an interesting thing that they've decided to do. So they're leaving, from what I understood, they didn't really mention medium armor, but they said that heavy armor was remaining the same. And as a result of heavy armor remaining the same, we were going to then instead get kind of light armor being nerfed, light armor being pulled down a notch or two. Whoops, didn't mean to put that there. Purely to kind of keep it in line with things, but the mobility on light armor, as we've seen otherwise, is going to be higher. It's going to be much more... Why do I keep doing that? It's going to be much more kind of high risk, high reward, arguably. You know, diving into combat and having to rely on your mobility, which is still going to be kind of capped by your stamina and your grit rating. You know, so you're still only going to be able to, from what they've said, maybe dodge like 5 or 6 times before you end up running out of stamina. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see kind of exactly how all of that plays out. But then, kind of in addition to the to those changes, there's something that kind of stood out to me, which they mentioned, which is the perk for damage resistance, which was originally on Vitality, has been moved to Survival, so that Survival is more about surviving everything rather than just surviving, you know, food and water wise, which is something I like. I like that idea. That's absolutely fine. But then they also said that they had pulled down the damage reduction from 20% to 10%. And now that's still you know, a substantial amount of damage. And if you're wearing heavy armor as well, then even if you're fairly low mobility, if you've got the health regen perk as well, then you know you've got yourself fairly well set up to kind of take on the world as a more tanky character. And that's, you know, exactly what you'd be looking for in theory if that's kind of the way that you've built yourself out. But the thing that kind of makes me go, huh, that's interesting, is the fact that along with all of the other kind of changes that they're making there, like the 10% damage resistance kind of being nerfed and then making it obvious that it's nerfed. It's that people always think larger numbers are better. Yeah, I remember there are numerous MMOs that I've played where until you get to kind of or RPGs arguably, until you get to the higher end of things, you're always going to assume that kind of bigger means better. If you've got more health, then you're probably doing better. If you've got more of one thing or another, then you're probably doing far better than you could be otherwise. And that's not always the case, purely because if you've got more health, then it also means that you require more healing to sort yourself out. You know, if you've got so much health that it becomes impossible for a healer to properly support you, then there's, you know, a good chance that you're more of a liability than not. Okay, well that worked so well. Do you know what? Let's slap. No, can't slap that on there. Okay. That's fine. Let's get rid of you. Slap that on there. There we go. Whoops, didn't mean to pull that out. And then, can we put it down? Nope, that's a roof. Can we put it down on this side? Or are we going to need to stick... Probably going to need to stick a pillar down. But yeah, like the thing that kind of stands out to me is, you know, whether or not people will be interested in playing with those perks anymore, just because they're potentially going to be perceived as lesser now, which, you know, you may lots of people have been looking forward to playing, or at least that I've been talking to and hearing from, been looking forward to playing your kind of very aggressive characters, moving in very quickly, moving out very quickly kind of thing. But at the same time, you've got a lot of people who have been... let's get rid of you. That is a tough corner to deal with. Do you know what? We'll do that, and we'll deal with that bit in a minute. Didn't want to do that. But yeah, it's like the player perception stuff. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not that kind of comes across here as well. Do I have anything that I can beat a tree to death with? Yes, I do. Thank you. Right. But then, you know, that's going to be interesting to see. But then we've also got... Oh, what was the other thing? We had the new stuff for Decetto and so on that's being worked on. We had the new combat stuff with the armor changes and the perk changes. Then you had the new creature animations and attacks, and making sure that the NPCs weren't too domineering. So, you know, we've got a set of interesting things there. I'm sure there was something else, but I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But as a result, you know, we've got these interesting changes that are going to be kind of fun to play around with and work with. But in fact, you know what we should do? What we should do is be putting these up here. Which way round is that? The wrong way round. There we go. Like, again, it's going to be interesting to see how that affects multiplayer as well. Just because when you've got people who are playing in the PvP, being competitive, then, you know, you've got people that want to win. And we already see in... That did not go the right way around. We already see in a whole load of other games, including, arguably, some of the other games that Funcom have made, but I would also think maybe to a lesser extent than some others. You know, where you've got a group being put together, people being selected to take part in activities, all that kind of thing, based on the way that they want to play. And it's kind of... I'm not going to say it's super concerning to me overall, but it does kind of raise the question of will these new changes, will these new things, let's just stick that there, sod it, but will these new changes and things all amount to kind of people potentially being excluded if they're on a PvP server because of the way that they want to play the game? You know, it's not a huge concern for me, I don't think, because I feel like whilst they're making That's what it was. The art team have made the color trails for the weapon status effects. They've made them less kind of in your face and less obtrusive. So, you know, it's a little easier on the eyes, a little less messy on your screen. So, you know, there's that. But again, like there are certain things in this game that you can tell like that, but obviously, as with so many games, the part of the problem is not just the fact that there is a meta, but the fact that you've got a group of people who will kind of take the meta on board to an extent that arguably isn't healthy, doesn't help anyone, potentially impacts the kind of fun and experience of other people. And, you know, that's kind of something that, especially in a game like this, would, I feel, be quite sad to see. Because, you know, we've got a whole load of things in this game that are pretty freeform. And you can do whatever the hell you want. And it all works out quite nicely. Because, you know, if you're working for your clan in some way, or just by yourself, or whatever else, you can still have a fair amount of fun with it. But, you know, I've just got a couple of concerns about things like metas being generated, especially considering that in the last kind of MMO the Funcom made, you didn't really have so much of that, just because of, or at least not that I experienced in the secret world, purely because of just how much variety and things like that there happened to be. You know, there are a few people that wanted to stick to the predefined builds, but, you know, for the most part, at the very least, as said, from my experience with the people that either I played with when the game first came out, or in regards to the people that I've played with since, or pickup groups that I've engaged with, it's always kind of come round to being a fairly open situation. So I'd like to think that, like, these other games that Funcom are making, Conan Exiles included, don't end up running into a problem like that. You know, just because, again, I don't want to see people that may otherwise quite enjoy the game online and with friends and whatever else, essentially just running into roadblocks where people don't want to kind of really give them anything to go on, purely because they want to play a certain way, purely because they are interested in a very specific area of the game, or, you know, otherwise want to engage with it in a different way. And it's like, I don't know, it is slightly concerning to me as all the we might end up with kind of games, or this particular game, running into various troubles along the way. You know, right? So I think there was another one over here, wasn't there, that needed just something stuck in the way? Oh no, that was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick corners in, because that's something that I forgot that we could do. No, it's thatch. Thatch. So we'll go, what, 2 of those for the time being, because I think all the others... Oh no, we could do one inverted, one over there as well. Don't want to fall off the edge. Grab one of those as well. Cool. And so we'll stick these in quickly, just to kind of fix up the roof here, so that we've got that continuous kind of platform. It's not going to work everywhere, unfortunately, because again, I don't know exactly why I can't swap these fences around, but, you know, such is the way of things. So there we go. Okay, so for the most part, now we've got this big wall, and now I just need to stick fences across the top of this one. And I'm kind of happy with it. I'm not super happy with it, but I'm kind of happy with it because it means that we'll have a place for kind of archers to operate from. And we can stick guards up on these walls just to make sure that kind of everything's working out and things are protected from this side. But then we've still got that other side to get to. So let me just stick these fences on top, and then we'll go and take a look at creating a tower down on the other end, as I said before, to deal with, hopefully, no one, but to deal with anything that kind of comes their way. And then, considering I built this slave camp, not a big slave camp, but I built this slave camp to begin with to go and kind of grab slaves from the Darfari Yogite temple over there. So, you know, finally have a reason to go back there, make use of what we've got here, just to prepare for possibly the worst of the worst that could come our way. So, yeah, you know, we'll no, I wanted to toss that, toss that, toss that. But yeah, like some of the stuff that they were talking about in regards to attacks and things as well, where the AI has been kind of given access to the combos and things, but they've been given cooldowns. Mammoths have been given cooldowns so that they're not quite as terrifying, so that we can riposte and kind of get back in to stab them up when they first kind of roar and crash around. And I've not had the time to kind of jump across onto Test Live and have a look at all of the changes myself, and I kind of also don't want to an extent, because I want to go and wait for them to release the entire thing, because just because they've released the entire thing doesn't mean that they're not still going to be patching it, refining it, checking values, making sure that things all work. So as long as that's still a thing, I'm not too fussed about waiting for it and then just testing everything. As said, I'm going to probably be building, you know, finding somewhere just flat and open that doesn't have many creatures around, and just spawning in, well, not spawning in, well, debatably, but building in an arena or something like that, so that I can just kind of go, you know, spawn in some thralls, kind of, or spawn in some NPCs, and then we can go kind of toe to toe with the new weapon types. Maybe I'll even grab Hannah back in, and we can test the weapons against each other, because we all know how she likes to stab me without meaning to. So, you know, if we actually give her reason to stab me, then maybe she'll stab herself out, and the next time we go and do a dungeon or something, I won't get inadvertently poked in the back. Although saying that, I nearly gassed both of us last time that we went and did a dungeon, so hey-ho. Swings and roundabouts, but oh, sorry, Rabbit. But yeah, so that's the kind of thing that I want to take a look at with that. But then obviously we've got 2 new biomes that are coming that for regions for us to go and take a look at. We've got the volcano, we've got the jungle. If the Darketo stuff is having the finishing touches put on it, then I feel like, you know, those are going to be some of the last things being rounded out before we start seeing more of the jungle being put in. The volcano's been worked on and talked about for ages, and so it, you know, the fact that we've still not really seen much of it is somewhat interesting to me. Can I not build over here? I can build into the rock. That's fine. Let's do that. So this is already 3 high, so that's fine. So we just want to slap these in just so that it all matches up. No, I didn't mean to. Well, we know that the walls no longer make a difference, and it doesn't matter which side of the walls you're stood on when things go exploding around you, so, you know, that's fine. We need to put some more over there as well. There isn't a hole under there, though, is there? No. Okay. Yeah, like I'm looking forward to having more to explore again, to be honest. That's definitely one of the first things that stands out as kind of, this is something that I want to go and take a look at. Because if we can kind of get into exploring again and seeing what there is, then, you know, that sounds ideal to me. That's one of the reasons I enjoy playing these games. You know, I enjoy playing survival games for the exploration involved, the building elements that are involved. But obviously, you know, there are other parts to these games as well. Here, Conan, there is lore, and at some point we'll go through it. Apparently there's story. Again, at some point we'll go through it. But, you know, I'm kind of more interested in seeing what happens with some of the other stuff in this game. Yeah, some of the mechanical stuff, some of the stuff that they're going to be adding, making sense of. Can I put it up there? No, apparently not. But what we might be able to do is stick a pillar up there. Oh. Maybe I should destroy... There we go. Maybe I should destroy this one and stick it down first, and then we can place it over the top. There we go. Oh, it doesn't need placing over the top. That would probably be why. But okay, so we'll leave that open for the time being. We'll probably need to stick a doorway in there for the sake of structural integrity. God damn it. That just annoys me because of the way it looked. But let's get tower sorted. Did it suddenly get darker? Or was that just the sun going behind a cloud? Gonna hope that was a sun going behind a cloud. Doorway, sandstone. There we go. Cool. But yeah, so we're gonna see some interesting stuff, I think, over the next couple of weeks, because they have to be running kind of closer in to their kind of deadline for the golden build of the game. And then kind of subsequent to that, in theory, whilst we'll probably still be getting updates and things right up until kind of the end of development in various ways. Like, once the golden build gets kind of done, hit on, and they've kind of finalized stuff, then everything else that goes in afterwards is going to be for essentially a day one patch, which, you know, no issue with that, but at the same time that does mean the, as has been said to a degree by Funcom, they're going to be looking more at polishing and making sure that everything's shiny and sorted in that way, rather than looking to add new features, which is why they had to cut out a whole load of the other features that we talked about a handful of videos ago. So, you know, we've got kind of a collection of really cool stuff, in my opinion. Didn't mean to put that in there. But we can do this. Yeah, that's fine. You know, we've got some cool stuff coming our way, and to me, at the very least, it looks interesting. It looks great. There are a couple of things that still concern me, but then again, that's because I've not had a chance to poke and play with it yet. You know, it's the kind of situation where, you know, you go, well, I want to take a look at kind of all of this other stuff, make sure all of it works, all of it fits, and, you know, without some element of certainty to it, I'm not going to be kind of super happy about it. Completely reasonable response. You know, there needs to be some evidence to support what you're looking at. But the problem is that at the moment we don't have evidence. At the moment, we're probably not going to get evidence for at least another couple of weeks, so that we can, you know, for when we need to be able to test things out. But up until that point, we've got a couple of other things that we, you know, can potentially still look at. Which one was it? Yeah, it was. I was right. It was inverted. But we've got a couple of things that we can still kind of look at or prepare for. For instance, you know, me going and doing this today, kind of going, right, I want a purge-proof base that is going to be purge-proof in terms of kind of what we know this area is likely to throw at us. You know, we could very well end up with far worse, you know, stuff that's going to be all manner of difficult and horrific and kind of tough for us to deal with, considering previously they've mentioned things like kind of hero enemies and stuff like that. So if there are still hero enemies as part of the other stuff that's going to be coming in with the Purge, you know, if we still get these hero enemies who have explosives or who have other equipment, legendary weapons, you know, they've pointed out that they want to have legendary weapons in the game, but they're going to mostly, from what they've said, come from either special locations or from keys that you get from world bosses and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, but are there going to be a couple of those that maybe we see as a result of the Purge? Or is the Purge going to be just completely separated and kind of different from all that? Who knows? I'll do the interior at some other point, I think. And yes, I realise that this isn't as uniform and as nice as the one that we built up north. But I'm not entirely sure why. It might be because did we build all the way up with foundations for the last one? Can't remember if we did or didn't. I don't think we did, but maybe we built this one wider than the other one, which is, again, I also don't think we did. But either way, we've got placements for archers, and we've got placements that we can stick down here for archers as well, so they can get a good view. So, you know, I'm not too displeased. It's just a little asymmetrical. Or in fact, arguably, I think it's... No, it is asymmetrical because that doesn't line up properly. But, hey-ho. Let me just see if we can... No? No? Okay, then. But yeah, I'm going to continue going and looking at thralls and making sure that we've got kind of thralls and guards on all of our bases to one extent or another. So far, I've not been improving. You know, I need to go round and do a sweep of each base in terms of improving armor and weapons and things like that. But what I want to do, especially, is try and make sure that whilst we might improve their equipment, I don't want to improve their equipment so far beyond what's going to be available in the area. So, for instance, here, I want to have maybe medium armor. On the tower off that way, or that way, over that way somewhere, you know, I want to have heavy armor, probably. Over back at the lodge, the first lodge we built, there I'm probably going to have maybe a couple in medium armor, but most of them in light. And then, you know, I'll probably have the Nordheimers up at the the reservoir wearing the medium armor that I'm wearing here, and then give the Sumerians the star metal armor for heavy further up. You know, I want to kind of keep that in line just to see how they perform, because the you know, if we can see that, say, the Purge same intensity hits here as well as over at the lodge and at the other tower, yes, we can see which principles work in terms of the attack. You know, does the for the Purge, for the purposes of the Purge, do the building materials really matter? Are we going to be able to see kind of which armor set and weapon sets our thralls kind of act with best? Or alternatively, are we going to be seeing kind of interesting, kind of weird things happening where I didn't mean to jump off like that? Oh, okay, that's fine then. Or are we going to see kind of interesting stuff that happens when you've got the different combinations? Are the thralls going to run into their own problems with the structures? You know, it wouldn't surprise me if we come across a thrall that just gets stuck, doesn't know what he's doing or where he's going, or anything like that, just because of the way that I built the structure, and so then he ends up getting killed. In which case, you know, I've put all of these ideas in to various places and various things and the various placements that we've got, and so if then they work fine against the Purge, you know, or as defensive ideas generally, then we might be able to include them in some places. But if it's in a population, if it's in an area that's very well populated by thralls, and the thralls are the ones that are getting stuck, and as a result we're losing valuable thralls, because each thrall is a time investment as well, you know. So if we're losing those at the same time, then potentially it's going to be a case of going, actually, we don't want to include those aspects where there are that many thralls. We want those aspects used specifically for where we're kind of by ourselves, or where we've only got humans there. And, you know, maybe if you had those principles in a central keep where you've got the player focused area, and then outside of that you didn't use those defensive principles because the thralls get confused by them, you know, that would make more of a difference. But anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it here. So I'm probably going to go running off and... That's a strong bunny. But I'm probably going to leave it here. I'm going to probably go running off and find some more thralls and maybe make a couple of other tweaks and modifications here just to improve this stuff. Because one of the things that is the biggest unknown to us at the moment is we don't know if the thralls can climb. And you know, whilst I can imagine that some of them are going to be armed with the orbs, the explosive orbs, and possibly the gas orbs as well, we don't know if they can climb properly. And so, you know, up there, having those fences, sure, fine, whatever. Down here, though, having nothing, does that just mean that this wall is an obstacle that they can kind of clamber over, jump over, whatever else? Ah, it's the water. You know, I'm interested to see how that all pans out, and hopefully, as I've said in the last few videos, we've not got too long left to wait, especially considering that they're making these other changes to the combat system, to the armor, and so on and so forth, that seems to be kind of at the end of what they need to do to ship the combat system. And I'm hoping that, as with all the stuff that we got for the Frozen North, we're going to get kind of a tropics update where we get the volcano, we get the jungle, we get at least Derketo, if not the other god that they've mentioned but not done anything about. I'm kind of still hoping for Zotli, but it could be there are a number of different gods that it could be, so who knows. And so, you know, here's hoping that we see all that in the near future. Otherwise, guys, thank you very much for watching me make a mess of things and ramble, and I will see you in the video tomorrow. No, video Monday. I keep saying that. I keep getting that line wrong. But I'll see you in the video on Monday. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video on Monday. Take care.